Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure and a great honor for me to introduce a very personal and great friend of mine, Mr. Josh Reinstein. He's the Executive Director of the Christian Allies Caucus of the Knesset. About 7 years ago, well, it's almost 10 years ago, something phenomenal took place within the Israeli Knesset. A member of Knesset of the name Yuri Stern, and I believe his dear widow is with us. He passed away some years ago, and he actually decided to reach out to the Christian community worldwide, and he established something which is historic in Jewish-Christian relations. He established a Christian Allies Caucus in the Israeli Knesset, which is today the largest caucus within the Israeli Knesset. 8 members of parliament are part of that caucus, and their sole purpose is to reach out to the evangelical community worldwide and to link them up with the nation of Israel. I think we all can dream and hope that we would have such a caucus in our own parliaments. And it's a great joy and a great honor to me tonight to welcome the director of this caucus, Mr. Josh Reinstein. He has been a very close friend of the Christian Embassy. He has been just recently elected as one of the 50 most influential Jews worldwide. And I want to ask you to give him a very big Feast of Tabernacles welcome. Please welcome Mr. Josh Reinstein.
Thank you, Jürgen, for that warm introduction. I met Jürgen many years ago when I was on the list of the 50 least influential Jews in the world. So I want to thank him for sticking in there. It's really ironic for me to see that during the time of the Feast of Tabernacles, when Jews all over Israel find guests to bring into their sukkah, so that we can fulfill the commandment of Ushpizin, hosting guests in our sukkah, that today there are so many Jewish families here being hosted in the International Christian Embassy's sukkah. As Jürgen mentioned, I'm the director of the Knesset Christian Allies Caucus, and the Christian Allies Caucus was started by the late Dr. Yuri Stern. And it warmed my heart to see his beautiful wife smiling and dancing in the last song. Lena, it's great to see you. Thank you for being with us. What an exciting time to be alive. We get to live in the time of the fulfillment of prophecy. Every day we see new prophecies unfolding here in Israel. From the beginning in 1948, with the ingathering of the Jewish people from the north and the south and the east and the west, coming on the wings of eagles, or airplanes as we call them today. We got to watch the desert bloom. We export flowers to Holland. And we beat France in wine competitions every year. We got to see the scattered nation of Israel come back to their land and be a light unto the nations. We invented the laptop and the USB port and the cell phone and the CAT scan and the drip water irrigation system that's eradicated a lot of the hunger in Africa, all from this small little place in Israel. We get to witness the children once again playing in the streets of Jerusalem. Driving over here tonight, there were thousands of children celebrating Sukkot in God's capital, Jerusalem. What a miracle. And of course, tonight, we see another great prophecy unfolding. The nations have come up to Jerusalem to stand with the nation of Israel in the time of the Feast of Tabernacles, as they are commanded to do by God. You are the fulfillment of that prophecy. But as we gather and celebrate these things as Jews and Christians, and we do this all over the world in conferences like these, we must remember that there are many out there that this is a very scary thing for. This is a major threat to their way of life. People who do not believe in the Bible and the God of the Bible. And that's why we see so much anti-Israel sentiment around the world. And that's why it's so important for people like you to come here and stand with Israel. For politicians to come here and say, we're not going to listen to the lies. We know what's happening in Israel, and we stand by God's covenant in Israel. Tomorrow, you will go on the march, the parade in the city. And it's an event every year that I wait for because it strengthens us. It lets us know we're not alone. It bolsters us. But I want you to pay attention. Look at the Israelis on the streets, for those of you here as pilgrims. Despite the threat of a nuclear Iran, despite the missiles from Hezbollah in the north, and the missiles flying in daily from Hamas, we are not afraid. Who shall we fear? For we dwell in the house of the Lord. And as Bibi mentioned at the United Nations, we have red lines, and God has his red lines too. And I dare anyone to cross them. I speak all over the world, and I always end my speech in the same way. Next year in Jerusalem. But today, since you're here already, I'll just end by saying, welcome home.